We thought we'd give you a little bit of a backstory to start. So both Sam and I were raised by we were raised by high achieving women who are entrepreneurs still to this day. My mom was a single mom for a good portion of since I was about 10 or 11. And so Sam and I are both, raised to work really hard. And we were shown that like burnout was just normal, normal part of the human experience and living and just to be expected. For me personally, I went through severe hormonal imbalances and chronic pain and menstrual pain that I felt like I was dying once a month, like every time I got my period. And that there was a huge piece of that was tied into stress, anxiety, overworking, burning out, that I only learned on my own many years later after turning that around. The sense of ease that happens. And I think what we have identified it as, and I think wrongly identified it as, is we think of when we slow down or when we stop or pause, right? We think of ourselves as lazy. We're like, no, it's lazy to slow down. And it's not. It's not. There's a difference between never accomplishing, never doing anything for ourselves and our communities, etc., versus taking the time to nourish ourselves so that when we do show up for our families, when we do show up for our own work, our own mission, when we do show up in our communities, we actually have some to give. Like we aren't running on empty. This is a great lead in to really talk about these three main issues in the coaching industry that Sam and I noticed, right? Which is, first of all, the expectation that our bodies are the same as men's bodies. So bro nutrition, bro fitness, bro health science, the world of biohacking, the world of high performance, the world of entrepreneurship is fueled by men. And when they bring up science and evidence-based research, which is all, it's fantastic, but the majority of it is based on science that was done on men, by men. It's not in regards to the female body, to the female experience, the female psyche, even the female energetic blueprint. And things like examples such as intermittent fasting, right? Which is something that can be so amazing for the male body. And when you introduce that to the female body, to most female bodies, some female bodies respond well to it, and depending on where they are with their health, but 99% of female bodies are not going to have positive long-term effects with intermittent fasting. Maybe some positive short-term, maybe they lose some weight that they needed to lose, maybe, a couple of other things. But I have seen people claiming hormone balancing with intermittent fasting for women, and I call bullshit. Yeah. There's no proof at all, and we have a ton of evidence to the contrary. Intermittent fasting, coffee and stimulants. I remember reading the book Headstrong by Dave Asprey, which is a great book. But, in it, he's talks a little bit about the science with women, but there's a lot missing. So I think too, when we are reading books and we're getting into biohacking, all of that, some things can sound good on paper, but as you look deeper into the research, you realize this doesn't actually prove anything. It's suggestive that maybe we need to do some more research on it. Maybe we can look into it more, but it's not actually proving anything. And so I found that a lot with, bro science, bro health science. What do you want to add there?
If you also look deeper into the research or these studies, you'll see that I feel like scientists, they get so like the women's body, they think it's so confusing. So they'll do the research on post-menopausal women. So the women
Ah!
who aren't fluctuating in their hormone cycles.
They're like,
And they're like,
no,
we
no,
did
we
the
need
we
regulated
did
women. We need women who don't change.
or
We're gonna do our
yeah.
research on them.
Or they'll do it on women who are in their beginning phase of their cycle. So when they're in their
Mm.
highest level, so if they do like intermittent fasting on a woman that's, fully energetic and fully like at the top of her A game with her hormones, they're like, it's perfect.
Right.
But
They're
yeah,
not looking at it throughout the whole cycle or
the whole.
multiple cycles throughout the
Mhm.
whole year because a woman's cycle can change throughout the seasons as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, great points. And the male body does thrive on the circadian rhythm, and we all have our circadian rhythm. We wake up, we go to sleep, right? We have our day to day, and um, but how our eyes letting in certain amounts of different lights is triggering our bodies to say this is what time of day it is, right?
Mhm.
This is how to respond. This is where our hormonal levels are at. And so when we're out in the sunshine or even under the light of the moon and the stars, right? These are all messages telling our body this is what time of day it is. This is, it's time to do this in the body. It's time for the liver to do this. It's time for your adrenals to do this. Like everything has its systems, right?
Mhm.
And things are, we definitely are set up with our circadian rhythms, but when our circadian rhythm gets out of whack, right, it affects our hormones. And that's for men and women, that's for everybody. But we have additional rhythms as women. We have our menstrual cycle, and that rhythm that takes up a good majority of our lives.
Mhm.
Um, and then even beyond that, all of us as humans are affected by the moon, the phases of the moon, so if you are familiar with how the female cycle is aligned with the moon phases, even after menstruating age, when women have grown through that, they're menopausal, postmenopausal, they still receive benefits from following along with the kind of the energetic shifts that occur with each phase of the moon. And everybody can benefit from doing that, right? Because of the ways that the moon impacts the tides, not just of the ocean, but of our inner ocean,
Mhm.
right? Our emotions inside of us, because our emotions, a piece of how our emotions are going, has to do with our hormones. And our
Mhm.
hormones, right? Like everything inside of our bodies, there's liquid, there's water, there's fat, there's all of these different ways of there's all these different substances, really,
Yeah.
these different kinds of substances that are affected by external factors and internal factors, right? It's affected by our minds and our thought processes. It's affected by how well we regulate or don't regulate our nervous system, our breath.
Mhm.
There's so much to consider. What do you think? Should we move on to myth number two?
Myth number two.
Okay.
Light her up.
All right. So the other thing that we noticed in the coaching industry is bropreneurship, right? So it's kind of going off the first thing, which is this hustle and grind mentality, like just work really hard, just get it done, move
Mhm.
through everything. And
Mhm.
there's wisdom in that. Absolutely. Like we
Yeah.
can all benefit from that wisdom of like, just because something gets hard doesn't mean you quit,
Mhm.
right? We stay resilient, we keep going. But the way that the female body and the female mind responds to wisdom, right?
Mhm.
Responds to messages, responds to advice is different. It's different. And so when there's so much testosterone pulsing through your veins, you your brain is going to operate a little differently and be uh, inspired and motivated and fueled by different things than when you have a different fluctuation of testosterone, estrogen, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, I can really relate to this bropreneurship. Did you come up with that word? by the way?
I think I did, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Bropreneurship. That's exactly how I started my e-commerce business. All the information I was taking in was just from a bunch of guys that just told me through like podcasts or books or things that I was reading or articles or YouTube videos. It was like, you need to work all the time. You do not sleep. You can sleep when you're dead. You have 3 hours a day to like sleep. The rest you need to work, 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 work. And I was like, that's the only way. That's the only way. And if I want to,
Mm,
make a name, make a statement, make any sort of success in my life, I need to do this. And I took that to heart, and that's exactly what I did. And I finally got to this point where I just reached a breaking point. And I remember just spiraling down, and I lost balance with my fitness. I lost balance with nutrition. I lost balance with friendship, with community, with my femininity, with anything. It was just go, 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 and don't
mhm.
break. And and that is going to be the fastest way to reach burnout, especially as a woman.
Absolutely. The whole concept too of like living for the weekend,
Mm,
I can't tell you how many, even people that I've known since we were little kids, or people that I've known since high school, and this lifestyle of work super hard during the week till you
mm-hmm,
crash and burn, till you have
mm,
nothing left, and then just go get lit over the weekend,
yeah.
right? Or, go on a staycation. That's fantastic. I'm all for the staycations. Or take a real vacation. Love that. But, this idea of living for the weekend as if the week is not worth it, right? As if
Mm,
the week is like I'm just doing like all of this hard stuff that I'm not actually invested in, that doesn't actually have my heart and soul in it.
mm,
That in and of itself is draining and depleting, right? When we're doing work that's not aligned with us, it's not aligned with our
yeah,
hearts.
yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of, like what you were doing when you had your six-figure e-commerce store. It wasn't like, I love party things, you know?
No,
It wasn't
no.
your
There
passion.
was no passion
It
there,
was
no fulfillment.
all
You could,
strategy.
yeah, it was a great lesson to learn, making decent money online and feeling absolutely nothing. And like I remember like looking, and it was my first like 10K, and I was like, I feel like I should be excited, but I just want more. And I took
Oh.
no time to just reward myself throughout the process. It was always like,
Mm.
what's next? What's bigger? What's more? I think that duality though is really beautiful in a woman's 28-day cycle or 30 or whatever it may be for you. Having that time where you can just go in and get as much done as possible, be in like you just want to pour into everybody because you're also in a really like big community, and like you're able to communicate much better with people, and
Mhm.
you just want to get a lot done, and you're excited to, and it's fulfilling to you. And then you go into your lower end of your hormones phase, and you're able to dive deeper into your intuition. Your right and your left brain hemisphere are able to communicate better during this time, which allows you to tune into yourself better. And you're able to realign yourself every single month with your vision. And I think it's a blessing. And we see like this low phase is like our weakness or something
Mm.
that's gonna take us back and take us down. But it's actually it could be even more, it probably is more important than your higher phase because of the fact that you can realign yourself and stay in tune with yourself.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point that it's not a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we can feel weak because we're comparing ourselves to men, but
Yeah.
not it's not actually a weakness.
Hmm.
So the third piece, let me see, be sure that I have everything. Yeah. Okay. Sending it. Send now. So this third main issue in the coaching industry that Sam and I noticed is honestly the Western medical industrial complex, and with that, the pharmaceutical industry, which really just tells us to take more pills
Mm-hmm.
and get more side effects,
Mm-hmm.
never address the root causes of our health issues, of our energy issues, of our performance and mental clarity issues,
Yeah.
of our depression. Like, none of these things are fixing the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
Why are people depressed? Why are women so depressed
Mm-hmm.
and exhausted and drained? Is it something that we can just take a pill and it's better?
Mm-hmm.
No. Like, I've been depressed. I have family members who've been depressed, plenty of friends and family, plenty of clients.
Yeah.
And every single time, there are deeper issues needing to be addressed that a pill cannot solve.
But the thing
And
is
mhm,
people put that Band-Aid on through the pharmaceuticals and they'll go their whole lives.
oh
And
yeah,
maybe they'll get to a point where they want to, release this Band-Aid and get off antidepressants or get off whatever they may be taking. And then it's like whoosh, like everything will hit.
yeah.
Because you'll spend the majority of your life just covering, and you will never find your true authentic self.
Yeah, I think that's a great point too. I spent many years on birth control pills for my
That too.
period.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it was specifically for my period because it masked the symptoms. It
Yeah.
suppressed the chronic pain that I experienced. Did
Mm.
it fix the hormonal imbalances and underlying issues? Absolutely not. So when I was later in college, I was cleaning up my diet, my lifestyle. I was studying nutrition and holistic health, right?
Hmm.
And the birth control was the last thing to go. I was 19 years old and I was like, great, this is the final chemical that I have been putting in my body and I'm ready to quit. And I had been on it for 5 years since I was 14 with my first period. And all of the symptoms that I'd had before getting on the pill just came flooding back in, as if they were never gone,
Hmm.
because none of that had ever been addressed. And in fact, it made it worse because it was being suppressed for so long. It just had this bandage on it
Yeah.
that it got pent up and built up over time, so that then when I did quit the pill, all of those symptoms were even worse.
Mm.
Um, so I think the other thing too, that with the pharmaceutical industry, with Western medicine in general for non-emergencies, because I'm a big fan of, having things like surgery and things where that we do need them for emergencies. But for the most part, just giving, over prescribing pill after pill after pill is also turning our entire population into victims, into codependent victims for eternity.
Mm.
I rely on this pill to suppress this symptom
Hmm.
so that I can feel slightly normal or at least able to get something done, right? Rather than being empowered with, here is how you can feed yourself,
Yeah.
not just with physical food, but nourish yourself, right? With the
Yeah.
proper movement and training, with sunshine, with how do we take care of our bodies on every level in our minds, right? That when we are empowered with information that helps us take care of ourselves, we are no longer dependent on these pills that bring side effects,
Hmm.
right? But those pills that bring side effects, that make us sicker, that suppress what's actually going on, what ends up happening is that then later down the line, just like you said, Sam, these things never get addressed, so they get worse and worse. So then all those chemical imbalances, right? Things like cancer pop up, like ovarian
Yeah.
cancer,
Yep.
all of these issues. But I think another important piece is trusting our bodies, right? That our bodies have so much information and so much wisdom to share with us. And the more that we can learn how to listen to our body's messages, right? Like all those years of pain, of the menstrual pain and the depression and things that I went through,
Hmm.
it was just my body trying to tell me things.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's a good point.
when we're like just gonna take pills and not listening to those messages, then that's all we're doing.
Yep.
Sam, do you want to talk a little bit about our vision here at Feminine High Performance?
Yeah. Yeah. So our vision is to redefine what it means to be a high performing female, whether that is, in entrepreneurship, if that's in your career, we want to teach you the art of feminine productivity and to fall in love with the process of truly taking care of your body and finding that balance between work and relationships and life and everything that comes with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam and I envision a world. Sit with us for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
Close your eyes. Bring this vision into your mind. So envision a world where in the workplace and in the world of entrepreneurship, in every career, in every corporate job, in every small business, as women, our hormones and our cycles are honored in our work. They are honored by our bosses, our supervisors, by our
Mm-hmm.
coworkers, right? They are honored by other entrepreneurs, and they're honored by ourselves as we get our work done in the world. We want little girls to grow up being taught by their moms how to nourish themselves and care for their bodies without shame.
Mm-hmm.
We want business coaches to to teach these methods, to share these methods far and wide with all of their clients. We are here to redefine what it means to be a high achieving, self made woman. And this is just the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So our mission with that is to shift the world of female entrepreneurship, to finally work with and celebrate the differences between our female bodies instead of continuing to shame them and to erase them and to neglect that we have differences. We have these differences. We want to put a light on that and to show
Mm-hmm.
the world that it's okay and it's beautiful and it's wonderful to have these differences, and we can actually be more efficient, more effective if we honor them.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we are here to inspire. We are here to motivate. We are here to teach and guide women.
Mm-hmm.
We are here to help show you how to reach your full potential, how to optimize your happiness, your energy,
Mm-hmm.
your fulfillment, right? The work that you do in the world, creating sustainable, lifelong habits to support you in doing so. And I think especially because we have been taught for so long to act as if we have male bodies, there are going to be lots of pattern interrupts. There are going to be lots of moments of being like, oops, change direction, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, we've been doing this for a long time and now we're going to interrupt that pattern. We're going to try going a different way, see how it
Mm-hmm.
goes.
Mm-hmm.
And really just help break down barriers between where you are now and where you want to be, and to do so in a way that is sustainable and is working with your body rather than against it, working with your nature instead of against it,
Mm-hmm.
and really helping women live in alignment with their purpose. I think that for Sam and I is a huge value for both of us,
Yeah.
that we are supporting women in actually living their purpose and feeling aligned with what they are doing in the world and how they are doing it.
Yeah. So we have some values alongside our mission and our vision. And one of them being rest. That
Mm.
word was so scary to me for so long. And when I have learned to actually strategically implement rest in my life, it has like, this has probably been one of the biggest, like, pivoting, like, game changing directions and tools that I've used, is resting. Who would have thought? Next is self-care, so taking that time and whatever that looks like for you. And then finding balance, like we've mentioned before, finding balance in your work and your relationships and just living your life. And then rewiring your mind. So Lily is a self-proclaimed, right, neuroscientist.
Neuroscience nerd. Oh,
Neuroscience
not
nerd.
neuroscientist.
Neuroscience nerd. And yes, we both value just going deeper into subconscious work and understanding your mindset and figuring out the different ways to change your pathways, along with adventure, fun, pleasure, maximizing your potential in all areas. And then, most importantly, self compassion along your road to this unconditional self love that we want you to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you, for those of you listening, if you noticed earlier, we talked about teaching, like moms teaching their daughters how to nourish their bodies without shame. That's a
Mm,
huge piece of it, right? We have shame when we don't have unconditional love. We have shame when we have judgment of ourselves, right? As as if we are bad. We are bad people because of X, Y, and Z. And so we really are passionate about teaching self-compassion as a pathway to unconditional self-love. Because I think that self-love can also feel so out of reach for so many women. Like, what do you mean, love myself? Like, what are you talking about? But when we
mm-hmm,
can come from a place of, okay, we're going to make some changes, and you're not going to be like, or when you notice that you are super hard on yourself,
mm-hmm,
you're going to notice it. And we invite you to be compassionate with yourself
mm-hmm,
along the journey, to recognize that you're human and you're learning and you're doing a great job. And I think that that can be one of the most powerful tools to help us really reach levels and depths of self love without shame, without conditions. So, our core values are, first of all, nourishing your female physiology. And that shows up with nutrition, with fitness, with neuroscience. Number two, biohacking the magic of your hormonal cycle, right? I love to call them your inner rhythms or your internal clock. Some people also refer to them as infradian rhythms. But embracing the magic of your hormonal cycle as your superpower, working
mm-hmm,
alongside it, not against it. And third is aligning with your deepest truths. We are really passionate about you living a life that feels most fulfilling for you. And we have experienced the magic that can occur when we work in tune with our hearts, our bodies, our souls, that more and more magic unfolds. Clients who typically work with us, just to give you guys a little bit of a window into our work, we have seen women improve their clarity, natural energy, more focus, having higher productivity, improved performance in all areas, um, even in their relationships, right? Better
mm-hmm.
communication, um, better parenting. I've personally experienced improvements in my parenting.
Yeah.
Um, adding more, adding more of a feminine structure to their lives and their work, right? I think so often we can get lost in masculine structure that is a little bit too narrow for encompassing what it is to be a female. And so there's an epic balance to be struck. Having an evidence-based system, right? To have that feminine structure built inside of an evidence-based system that's based on the female body rather than bro health sciences. Um, building confidence, building strength. We've seen our clients reset their metabolisms. That's pretty standard in the work that we do. That's basic. That's like step one. What are we going to do? We're resetting your metabolism. Balancing blood sugar, balancing hormones, all of that goes hand in hand. Um, Sam, what else?
Yeah, we've seen clients no longer need to be reliant on caffeine or stimulants.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen them double their deep sleep. We've seen them reduce anxiety and overwhelm. We've seen them have the convenience of reaching for those nourishing foods throughout the day versus, going through the whole day and all they've eaten is like a cookie from a vending machine. We've been
Yeah.
able to give them convenience. And it's pretty standard to see them shred anywhere from 5 to 20 pounds of just body fat that they no longer need to hold on to,
Mhm.
if they have that weight to lose.
We really want you, our ultimate mission here is we want you to live life on your own terms. We want you to have the freedom to live life on your own terms, and freedom in every sense of the word. The freedom and ease that comes from aligning with your body's natural rhythms and nourishing your body. The freedom that comes from expanding your finances to the point where you actually want them to be, to live the life that you want to live.
Hmm.
We want you to be overflowing with natural energy, with clarity, focus, joy, and overall better health. So that is that's our passion and our mission here at Feminine High Performance. Every single change requires investment, right? Investment of our energy, investment of our desire, investment of our passion, investment of money, investment of whatever. And so being fully invested in making those shifts and seeing the changes that you wish to see, that's what it takes. And we absolutely believe in every single one of you. We'll see you all next time,
Alrighty.
and we'll see you throughout the week.
Bye.
Bye.